Sup, everyone. I am very sorry about this late stream. I hope, um, I mean, people are gonna find it maybe afterwards. It's okay if people aren't here for the stream, but, there's a couple things that we need to talk about. The whole Fontaine situation, yes, I made a video talking about it, but this one, we're going to have a live stream now to kind of flesh out everyone's ideas. What are people's takes from this? How do you guys feel about it? Maybe even talk about who you are excited for, right? Because from what I've heard, it's just images. I mean, images is whatever. Seeing the new characters, sure, it's like some people don't want to see them. But yeah, you can say like, oh, I like the Hydro Archon, or like, I really hate how the Hydro Archon look. That doesn't change what I know about it, because I don't know anything. I just know some people like her, some people don't like her. It was always going to be this case. So the reason I was late for stream today is because I had work. Work ran much later than I anticipated. I couldn't make it back. There's traffic. It is what it is, man. It's actually pretty rare that work interferes with my live streams. I usually have it scheduled pretty separately, but in this case, it was very difficult to push it off. Zamo Susi says, "Hey, Walrus and Seals." That's right. Officially, I have categorized the people who, like, my informant to the leakers world, my seals, right? My seal team. Yes, because I'm a walrus, so they're naturally seals. But it's actually very fascinating, the world of leakers. With the current lawsuit going on with what wasn't it, Ubacha, right? With the Ubacha situation, a big portion of the leakers have chosen to stay silent and hide away, but that doesn't stop the leaks at all. In fact, it only made it worse, in my opinion. No, like, let's be honest here, chat. Ever since the whole Ubacha situation came out, I honestly feel like there's a certain group of leakers who just went even harder. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna try to take down our guy? Now we're gonna hit you back twice as hard." So I don't know. Hadrian is asking who's Ubacha. So Ubacha apparently is a dude who's very well known in the leakers space. He leaks a lot of content, but he's a I don't know if this is true, but according to some people, they say he's quite a tasteful leaker, meaning he leaks certain things, but he doesn't go too hard. Correct me if I'm wrong, because that's just what I've heard. There's also been people who says they really don't like Ubacha and what he does, he or she. I don't know if people know, but yeah. So give or take, the guy or lady, I don't. I'm gonna assume it's a dude. The guy just is a very respected leaker, I would say. Very well known in the leaker world, and people follow him a lot. And the guy got not a lawsuit yet, because Hoyoverse doesn't know their legal name, like their real name. So apparently, if you don't know their legal real name, and I think their address or something like that, you can't actually file a lawsuit. So Hoyoverse can't file a lawsuit against Ubacha, because Ubacha is not a real person, right? It's like a online persona. So they have to. So what Hoyoverse has done is they are going to Discord. They're trying to get, what is it? Is it a subpoena or something like that, or to have Discord release the legal name and stuff of Ubacha, like basically give them all of Ubacha's private information so Hoyoverse can file an actual lawsuit. So there is no lawsuit as of yet, but Hoyoverse is desperately trying to get this person. So I was just saying, but it seems like ever since Hoyoverse went after Ubacha and the leakers that hard, there has been a severe pushback from the leakers back towards Hoyoverse, and they're just leaking everything. They're leaking everything they can get their hands on. So it seems like this battle is gonna go on for a little bit. I've said in the past that Hoyoverse do have the authorized leakers, meaning people that share leaks mildly, and the ones that are likely Hoyoverse approved. And yes, there are certainly leaks that are put out that are Hoyoverse approved. They're very tame usually, and the timing is very precise. You can actually see it. There's a pattern, right? So a lot of these people don't respect Hoyoverse's time window, and I think there's a separate individual within Hoyoverse selling leaks to the outside players. So Hoyoverse likely has an Among Us, apparently, Ubacha was also involved in leaking Honkai Star Rail. Not good. Yeah, the guy just leaks everything, right? Like it is what it is. I don't know if he makes money out of it or it's just for personal reasons. I don't know. Legally speaking, Ubacha is in the wrong, of course, legally speaking. But the internet and people in general just like to root for the underdog. So because Hoyoverse is this big mega corporation, so by default they are evil and they have to be stopped at all costs. So of course people are going to support Ubacha, but even though legally speaking, Ubacha is in the wrong, right? If this ever gets to court, Ubacha will lose. Like, there's no what's, ifs, and buts. They are like, he's gonna lose if it ever gets to that point. So they won't get him. Yeah, I also feel like Discord is going to fight this one on Ubacha's behalf, because Discord doesn't want to set a precedence that their users are information are not safe as long as there's a subpoena being filed. So I think Discord is going to try to fight this one to uphold their what's that word? Their reputation. So it's like Ubacha is kind of lucky in that if Discord lets the thing go through and they release the information, then no one is safe in the future, right? So let's say any mega corporation wants your personal information so they can do something or whatever. They can file a subpoena and then try to get the information from Discord, and the Discord will just fold. So I think Discord might fight back, and maybe not for Ubacha's sake, but because Ubacha is a user, and in this case, their interest kind of aligns, right? Discord doesn't want to lose, like, have a bad rep and set a precedence for future users, meaning like people then won't feel safe using this, and then they'll take their conversations elsewhere, which loses traffic for Discord. Whereas Ubacha simply just wants this thing to go away. I don't know if Ubacha's ever going to go back to spreading as many leaks, right? But who knows if it's been proven that Discord just won't release the name of Ubacha, he might just continue to do whatever the hell he wants to do, because he knows Hoyoverse can't touch him because they don't know his real name. As long as he stays anonymous, then Hoyoverse can't touch him. Who knows? Maybe it'll just make him go even harder. This whole situation has turned into something that's far more dramatic than it needs to be, but I'm all in for it, right? Like, this is a separate arc. I feel like this is definitely headcanon. This is headcanon for Hoyoverse, not for Genshin Impact, but for the Hoyoverse storyline. It's hella interesting in my opinion. Cheesy File says, I no longer support them because of their ego by claiming they are responsible for Genshin longevity and success. Well, yeah, that's going a bit over top. It's like I'm claiming that the only reason people play this game is because I make YouTube videos for Genshin. That's just like going way over the top, right? I get it. Like, people need to keep their egos in check. Like, we have to really understand, content creators, leakers, we're all in the same boat. We are taking the scraps that Hoyoverse gives us to make content, and you're fooling yourself ever if you think that that you are more important than the product itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Twanto, I don't think Twanto has this kind of ego, but Twanto even isn't as important to Genshin's success as people likely would think, right? People are like, oh my god, Twanto is like the king of Genshin. The man is single-handedly carrying Genshin content. But you have to realize that the content, the product is what's driving the player base. It's not really the people who's making content for it. Yes, the content helps. That content certainly helps, but it's not the main life force. Certainly not leakers. But I do understand that a portion of the community likely will not be playing Genshin if not for the leaks. That you have to give to the leakers, because there's just some people who wants and who needs to know the future to prepare to get excited. That's just their gaming process. Does that make sense? That's just how they play games. They live a patch, maybe even two ahead of time. They love talking about things that are coming in a patch or two, or maybe multiple patches ahead of time. They have their community, and that's what they get excited for. They wake up, they see any news about this stuff, they hop into their chat groups, and they start chatting. They're like, oh my god, did you see this? Yeah, like, and then they start theorizing. They let their imagination run wild, right? It's how they play the game. If they take that away from these players, sure, they're gonna quit. But just to say like they're the ones keeping Genshin alive, like and relevant, that's just absurd. Because I would say 90% of the Genshin player base probably don't even care about that stuff. It's really the last 10% who cares, and maybe like a last like 3 to 5% who are like actively looking for this stuff. Meaning at any given moment, there's probably only about like, I don't know, 10 to 30,000 people who are looking and actively caring about this stuff online. It's evident if you ever like I've never seen these leakers because I'm not that active on Twitter, because that's where a lot of them resides. If you go look at the leakers and stuff like that, look at how many followers they have. That should give you a general idea how many people like truly cares about a lot of them, who are willing to actively seek out this information. That's how relevant they are, right? I'm not throwing shade at them. I'm just saying, like, that's how many people are willing to follow them to get the news ASAP. There's a lot of passive consumers, meaning like people who are okay looking at leaks, but they don't care enough to follow these people and get it first, like immediately, because they know, well, if a new leak comes out, it's gonna pop up in my feed at some point in time. I don't care if it's a day, a week. I don't really care. I can see it. I'll enjoy it. Maybe I'll take it in, but then that's it. I'll move on with my life. I don't care if I'm not the first 3 people to tweet about it, right? There's a bigger portion of players there, but those people don't really rely on the leaks to play the game. They see it as a happy bypass of their everyday feed scrolling process. Okay? It's very, very, very egocentric of people to claim that they have anything to do with Genshin's success. Anything is, dude, we can combine all the global content creator together, and we probably haven't done jack for the general success of Genshin. Like, you can take all the biggest content creators, right? Asian guy, Twanto, X Slice, you know, like Enviosity, Mtash, Tectone, you know, everybody, combine them all. We could have just not existed, and Genshin would still be as successful as it is today. You know why? Because there will always be other people to take our place, but there's no Genshin to take the place of Genshin. See what I'm saying? Take away Genshin, right? It's a great thing to say, like, well, let's try to remove Genshin, then what are you? Right? Like, just remove Genshin from the equation, then what are you? Would Twanto have 1 million, 1.2, 1.3 million subscribers without Genshin, right? Would Anthony Chen, would Tectone, would these leakers have any form of relevancy without Genshin Impact, the product, and the excitement and the general, like, the massive player base? No. Right? They probably would be doing something else, but they probably would be hovering around like maybe 100k, 200k subs. Like, it's a product, right? Let's just all agree. Genshin is a product that really built the success of all of these creators and gave these leakers some form of relevancy. So let's not go too far, right? Let's not go too far. So let's see what people are up to. Curious, but did Alhaitham nerf make as much noise as when Zhongli was nerfed? Caribbean Straw Hat is asking the Alhaitham. Okay, so this is the thing, because I don't follow these leaks as closely. All I know is what happened and what my seals are telling me. So what I was told is that Alhaitham was really broken when he was first introduced in the beta, right? And then he got giga nerfed, and then a lot of people chose to skip him and pull Raiden, and then that's when the Raiden banner kind of got a little bump in sales. And then they retuned it back because they realized, oh, he's nerfed too badly, so then they buffed him a little bit. But now he's not he's not nearly as broken as when he used to be, but he's not a bad character either, right? He's probably hovering somewhere I would say in the high A tier, just because he's Dendro. He has to be better than Tignari because he's a limited banner character. So just think about it like this. He has to be better than Tignari. He absolutely has to be, but he cannot be better than, let's say, Nahida. It's very difficult to even compare these two characters. But he's likely not as high on the tier list as Nahida, but he's better than Tignari, which is a pretty solid character. I think Tignari is a good character. Is he amazing, game-changing? Probably not, but he's a very good character for anybody to have because he's Dendro, and Dendro main DPS is very favored nowadays with amazing reactions Dendro can conjure. So by that metric, like Tignari, I mean, Alhaitham has to be a good character. It just has to be, because if you make him worse than Tignari, yeah, that's not gonna sit well. Caribbean Stars, I'm worried about what they nerf since I'm planning to pull for him. Like, don't worry about Alhaitham's strength, because at worst he's better than Tignari, and Tignari's good. Just like Raiden has to be better than Yamiko. Like, kind of the same train of thought here. He just has to be better. Tignari is good. Yeah, exactly. So as just use Tignari as a benchmark, and you likely will know that like Alhaitham is going to be a good character. Kickstarter says, why not Sino's worse than Kaching? Well, Sino's worse than Kaching at like base bare minimum investment for both characters, but as more investment goes in, Kaching's headroom doesn't grow as much as Sino's does. Sino's ceiling is higher than Kaching's, but Sino's floor is lower than Kaching's. So in the beginning, Sino feels worse than Kaching, but as you improve and invest, Sino starts to reach a ceiling, but Kaching reaches her ceiling much earlier than Sino does. That's why at times you can feel like, oh, Sino's so much worse than Kaching, but that's because you haven't really fully invested into Sino. Did you do a tier list? I'm thinking about doing a tier list. Maybe. I keep saying maybe next patch, maybe next patch, maybe next patch, but maybe I can do a 2023 tier list. And my tier lists are very, very specific. They have very, very weird criteria, because I just find that it's almost impossible to put out a relevant tier list without setting proper criteria. So, for example, constellations. Is everybody at C0? What constellation? Like, oh, but what if we're at optimal constellations? Then optimal constellations suddenly is like, oh, but some characters' optimal constellations are C6. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Faruzan. Faruzan's optimal constellation is C6. You're not going to tell me optimally you should be playing Faruzan at C2 or C4, right? But then certain characters like Bennett only need C1. How are you going to compare that, right? It's just and then it becomes very subjective. Okay, C1 Bennett, C6 Faruzan, and then you have C2 Xingqiu, stuff like that, right? It gets very, very convoluted. I've done tier lists in the past, and I think they're a ton of fun. But most of the time, without being very specific on what you're saying and how these characters work and why they are in the rank they are, it doesn't help anybody. You just put it out to satisfy like the fact that you put out a tier list, but the tier list doesn't really help many people. Like maybe the veterans will take a general glance at it. They won't even watch the whole thing. They'll just skip to the end and see like, okay, he put this there. Oh, that's very weird that he put this character over there. But then like people who actually need the tier list, the newer or players who are trying to build new teams, trying to branch out teams, they look at the tier list like, what the hell is going on here? Like they don't know what's happening. So I want to make a good tier list, and I want to make a specified tier list, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But maybe next patch. Scoop NYG says, hi Walrus, Drip King Hyperbloom is doing good. I'm getting positive responses, and I'm proud of the team I created. Congrats. I think really just a lot of people likely have characters that they have just sitting around that they don't even know are good or have great comps to build into, and experimenting is a lot of fun. I always say, like, the theory crafters and the people making the guide videos, they have the most fun because they get to test all the characters for you guys, and you guys just copy their build, but the process of testing and trying out teams and characters is arguably the most fun you can have in Genshin Impact. And I know a lot of people don't have the luxury because they don't have the characters, right? Or when the characters come out, you can only test them in the test mode, so you don't get to actually test these characters unless you pull for them. But that's the whole point. You're watching a video to see if they're good. So I get it. Trust me, I do. Right. But that's how the game was set up, right? Like if you want to truly enjoy every aspect of the game, you're gonna have to find ways to pull for it. But then this is what I say: if you are dead set on pulling a character and you're like, oh, I don't care about leaks or how good this character is, I'm pulling this character, I suggest you not to look at any leaks, because this is the few rare scenarios where you can just go ham, try everything, try to make this character work in every possible team variation that you can have, and then go look at the guides. Like once you settled on a team, and a play style and stuff, and you're like, oh, I love this team. This is the best team I can make for this character. Then you go look at the guide videos. Then you go look at the theory crafters, and then when you cross reference, that's when the sparks start flying. That's when things will be so like interesting for you, because you'll then see, like, you'll know the process you've taken to arrive at your conclusion, and then you'll cross reference with people who do this for a living. They test characters for a living, and then you can see like, oh, okay, I kind of missed out on the opportunities here, and I can do that there, and it'll just open up a whole new horizon of possibilities for both your account as well as how you perceive the game and interpret certain things. It's great. It's very difficult to put into words, that kind of feeling, but I think for most people, you should at least try once in your Genshin career to try to figure things out for yourself, because I think that's where the heart of the game is. Riona says Hyperbloom is my favorite at the moment. Hyperbloom is just works so effortlessly. Very little input, really. What can I say? It's just good, and I think it was made for beginners. Moonlight says Walrus Zhao trailer. That's right. We're gonna be watching the Zhao trailer. I have not watched it yet. Okay, I'll let you guys know that right now. I have not watched the Zhao trailer. Let's take a look. Genshin Impact. Endless Suffering short trailer, Genshin Impact. Wow, 2 days ago, and it has like what, 2.7 million views. Wow, people really love Zhao. They really do. All right, let's see this. Let's see what this is about. It's a 3-minute trailer for Zhao. Okay.
Evil takes on many forms, but always carries a karmic curse. It spawns monsters that lurk in the mountains where the Adepti dwell, preying on the living for decades. It manifests as devastating pestilences, scarring the world for centuries. It is the sworn duty of the Yaksha to purge all evil. But after millennia of bloodshed, karma takes a toll. A moment of complacency, and I too will succumb to the darkness. An instant of negligence, and it will turn me into one of the monsters I swore to purge. After millennia of suffering and endless slaughter, I now see things for what they really are.
Oh, wait. How come you guys can't see the... Wait. Wait. I just noticed. How come you guys can't see the... Huh. Oh, it's tracking the wrong monitor. There we go. There we go. Dang it. Okay, okay, okay. We're good now. Sorry.
You slept the whole day through, you know. Good thing you're awake. You're just in time for the lantern rite.
They keep teasing this guy. Every time.
I carried you here on my back. I'll go get you some medicine now.
Why doesn't he want help? That's the question. Like, why not just accept help once in a while?
Did I scare you? Don't worry, this mask is to scare away monsters. It really works. You don't need to be afraid. Huh? Are you okay? You look tired. Grandpa, give him some rice wine pudding.
Well, hello there! Care to join me for a drink on this fine evening? Huh? Oh, you started celebrating already. Any rice wine for me?
Sorry. Tonight. I just want to rest.
Very nice. It's good to take the mask off once in a while. Even just for one night.
Well, I mean, it's definitely great to see a little more, but like this is the kind of stuff that we've seen from Zhao, right? And it seems like he's slowly being consumed. And see, this is a thing I really wouldn't a lot of these problems just not be as problematic if a lot of these characters just accepted help once in a while. Once in a while, just accept some help. It's not illegal to accept some help from other people, right? Like trying to act tough will always only end up backfiring around. Like, yes, you're trying to protect these people, but the fact that you're ignoring such a big problem that's happening to you will eventually end up backfiring. Let's say Zhao eventually gets consumed by the evil karma, and then it's going to cause him to do harm to those people that he was sworn to protect. But if he accepted some help every now and then, maybe he would have never gone to that point. Stuff like that. I mean, I'm literally here talking about fictional characters and judging their logic for But you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. This is toxic masculinity. Yeah, exactly. Like, why keep brushing everybody? Like, remember when he was inside the what was that thing? That quest that we did, the event. He almost didn't make it. If it wasn't like he chose to self-sacrifice, right? Like, I get it. This, being selfless is definitely a great trait in Yaksha Guardian, but it ended up being like Zhongli had to come in and save Zhao, right? Is that if you're just a little more forgiving towards yourself, a little more lenient, a little more willing to work together, I guess that's what we're headed towards. That's like the end of the story, right? Zhao's going to learn that he's not alone. He doesn't have to fight alone. He was never alone to begin with. And that, he can always rely on the people around him to work together in harmony. Maybe that's what he's going to learn at the very end of the story. And that's how he's going to become a better version of himself. Stuff like that. It's very typical stuff. It just frustrates me to see that, Zhao, if you just reached out a hand and not reach out, if you just took the helping hands of everyone around you, you would never really find yourself in this situation to begin with. Zhao needs a group chat for reals. No, Zhao's the type of dude who's been invited into group chats before, but he just chooses not to join. Feels bad. Thousand of years worth of karma after all. That's true. The man is shouldering the burden for 1,000 years worth of karma, which has now turned into trauma. But today we're going to be looking at an account review, and I think this is a great opportunity for me to record a video because more and more people are asking for very specific account advice, and I thought, what a better way to give general advice and actually to go through someone's account and look at it, talk about the kind of things that you likely should be considering when developing an account. It doesn't matter at what stage of your account you are at. There are some key things you need to focus on as to know what you're going to have to do next. A lot of people, as their accounts grow and grow and grow, they start getting overwhelmed. It's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. Everything kind of gets jumbled and piled up together to the point where you kind of have decision paralysis, where you don't know what you want to do with your account. How do you want to proceed with your account? There's so many things you want to do. You can farm artifacts, you can like go do this, go finish some quest lines, you can go farm some free-to-play weapons, you can prepare for constellations, right? Like you can pull weapons, you can pull more characters for synergies, but exactly what should you do? What should be the first step, right? Should you be prioritizing weapons? Should you be prioritizing constellations? Should you be prioritizing fun, team comps, variations? It all gets very overwhelming very, very quickly for most players. For the very few lucky ones who only care about very specific compositions or characters, like you definitely have a much easier time making decisions in this game and progressing your account. I say account progression is important, but it isn't. Don't let it be dictating everything that you do, because there comes a point in your Genshin Impact journey where more progression just feels meaningless. People arrive at this point differently. Some people, once they beat the Abyss once, they feel like there's no need. Other people has to beat the Abyss with 36 stars under 1 minute as their goal. Like that, like people have different thresholds and criteria of what they deem like is completion. Okay. So today I'm going to give very general advice and just share with you how I approach account progression, how I approach what is likely needed in the account to progress, and to some degree my own biasness is what I have found to be more enjoyable. Because let's say sometimes maybe mathematically you should be getting a weapon, or mathematically you should be building another team comp with another elemental focus. But from my experience, sometimes, let's say, getting a refinement 1 weapon for the character ended up being more fun in the long run. For example, right? I'm just giving a general example. It's not necessarily like that. But yeah, let's start with what characters they have and work our way towards the current team comps they have built, the strength, weaknesses of this account, and how to combat this for the future. Okay. So this is Dante. This is Dante's account, as you guys likely already know. If you know Dante, he is a Geo enthusiast, especially an Ito enthusiast. I'm actually very curious what constellation he has his Ito at. Please, Dante, share with us. Please, Dante, share with us. How broken of a character is Ito at C6? I honestly feel like this character is so disgustingly busted. Not as crazy as Yelan C6, but this character is so disgustingly busted at C6. Like, look, his charge attacks deal 70% more crit damage. Additionally, when he uses Artaki, he has a 50% chance to not consume stacks. It's so much more damage, and it's so because you have all the C1, C2, and everything is like you're just cycling through this flawlessly, and you have a pretty universal buff as well in C4. This character is just not fair, man. Like I don't know why. Like, how could they look at Zhao and be okay? Like, how can designers of this game sleep at night knowing that they've designed a character like Ito while Zhao is also still in the game? This is account flex, not review, actually. Well, the thing is, Ito C6 is something that he's worked towards for a long time now. Dante, can you share with us how much money you've spent on this account? For free to plays, you guys can also get an idea how much it costed somebody to C6 a 5-star. I mean, they C6 the 5-star. They also have Kazuha, Albedo, Ganyu. They also have Zhongli, Keqing, Diluc, Mona. They also have Jin. They have like Raiden Shogun and stuff. There's a ton of characters. It's not like, oh, he only has one character. I don't believe Dante is a free to play, but last time I checked, I don't think Dante is a whale. Dante says only Welkin and BP, but no top up. So look, for free to play players, this account likely isn't like too far from what you guys can achieve. So let's see, when did Dante start? Dante, when did you start this game? Dante started the game in March 23rd, 2021. Look at that. Dante started the game September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Dante started the game 6 months. 6 months after the game came out, Dante started the game. And yet people are sitting here telling me that it's not realistic for free-to-plays to get constellations on their 5-star characters. I just absolutely call BS, because look, if Dante is a Welkin player, Welkin and BP, but how many pulls do a Welkin give you? So let's just say Dante has been getting Welkin moons every month, right? I believe it's a 10 pull, is it not? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Welkin moon gives you a 10 pull, no? Where is it? Wow, you see, the man is a Welkin enthusiast. It's wish per day. 20 pulls. Okay, so 20 pulls. Dante has had an extra, so 1 year, 20 times 12, 240 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, let's see, 20. Welkin gives 30 pulls. It's 90 times 30 is 2,700 plus, so it's 3,000, right? So it's like 18 pulls. It's 18 pulls per month per Welkin, right? Roughly, I think it's 18 pulls. So 18 pulls per month. So let's say he's had it for 22 months. So he's gotten an extra 400 summons out of all his Welkins. An extra 400 summons. So most of these came from his Welkin moon. Right? Most of these summons came from his Welkin moons. Over the span of, because it's 2023 now, so yeah, it's almost been 2 years since he played. Right? So, for reference, if you're a free-to-play player, if you've never spent a dime on this game, likely you should have just as many 5 stars as Dante have here. I'm sure he's picked up some constellations here and there, but look at the amount of 5 stars. I mean, not counting the standard. Like, look at the amount of 5 stars this man has with just Welkin moon. So, and he has a C6 Ito, right? So take away the Welkin moon. You guys should have a much clearer idea of what you're working with. He didn't pull any additional copies for the Stone Thresher, which is fine. This is essentially just going to be a huge stat boost for him as well. I definitely would prioritize the constellations, to be honest with you guys. Insane Geo account, but that's not the point. All right. I'm going to take chat off screen because I'm going to record a video of the process here. It's going to be very sporadic in my how I do this stuff. Okay, so let's just start recording. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we have a viewer's account here, and I'm going to just go through this account and share with you guys my process on how I evaluate accounts and how I continue building certain accounts. This account is by no means like an insane account. It's a very good account. It's a specialized account. So the owner of this account is a geo enthusiast, and they are an Ito lover. They love this character, and in fact, this is a Welkin player. Let me preface that it's not a Giga Whale, because you might be misled if you look at this man's Ito and think immediately, oh, I can never beat someone like this. Like, this is a whale account. But no, they're a Welkin and BP player, and they've chosen to, oh, I can't even show you guys here. Let's go back out. They invested into Ito essentially all the way. Okay, they have a C6 Ito. Now, if you sit here and be like, well, you know, that's irrelevant to me, I'll never be that. I mean, yeah, as a free-to-play player, like a pure free-to-play player, I don't think a C6 character really is ideal for you. It kind of limits your options, right? Let's say it doesn't even matter if you have a C6 Ito, if you have anything in the Abyss that is immune to Geo, suddenly your, your C6 Ito doesn't do anything, right? So it's not really a good idea. But I'm just letting you guys know that we're going to be going over this account. And yes, they do have a C6 Ito. They've played this game since March 2021, and they've only bought Welkin and BP. I did some calculation here, and roughly from the Welkin Moon, they've saved up about 400 summons over the span of 22 months, right? So if that's not you, that's fine. But we are going to be talking about vertical progression and the possibility of investing into certain constellations for certain characters. So hopefully you can use this video as a general basis on what and how you should approach developing your own accounts, especially with the amount of people who's been asking me for account advice. I think this is the best way to go, using a viewer's account as an example, because this is probably much closer or akin to what you currently are working with. All right, so just to prove to you guys, this account started on March 23rd of 2021. So this player hasn't even played for 2 years yet. They did not start playing this game from the beginning, so they're about 6 months behind compared to people who started in patch 1.0. And as you can quickly glance over all these characters, you'll see they've picked up quite a roster of units. All right, let's just start here on this page. If you are on your own account, if you have the luxury, you can pull up this page as well for yourself, and you can start going along with me, because I'm going to be highlighting some key things you need to start identifying when you're on this page. This is the easiest way to do it. It is by scrolling down really quickly and seeing the elements of the characters that you have, okay? The thing with elements is that depending on what key elements you have and what you're working with, you can kind of work certain team comps and metas or strategies, generalized strategies around what elements you have. Of course, subcategories of characters are very important as well, but we're not going to talk about that. So we got some Dendro here. Not gonna lie, we have an overabundance of Geo characters. Just seeing Albedo should already tell you enough that, you know, maybe you can actually focus on a Geocentric team. Not to mention they also have Zhongli here. But besides that, we're not gonna really focus on Geo because, like I said, this is a C6 Ito account. So let's look at some of the other characters. Now, this account is incredibly blessed when it comes to 5-star characters. You might not have something like this, right? There's a chance you might have a Yelan sitting around here. You might have Nahida if you are somebody who went super hard in the Dendro space. Then in that case, right, like, so you have Yelan, you have Nahida, and then you also maybe have Nilu, maybe not. If you picked up, let's say, Scaramouche, Sino, that should give you a general idea. Okay, Electro, Dendro, maybe that's a general direction you're going to push yourself towards. But the second I see key figures in the game, such as Raiden Shogun, Kazuha, Ganyu, this starts opening possibilities to some pretty powerful elemental teams. When it comes to Ganyu teams, I see they don't have Nahida, so Ganyu can't really play her best in slot reverse melt, EM reverse melt team being with Nahida. But I do see Raiden Shogun, I do see Kujosara, I do see Kazuha, and then obviously I'm pretty sure they have Bennett, so they do. A possible Raiden hypercarry team is looming. They don't have Hu Tao, I believe, right? So if you notice, like, they don't have pieces of such as Hu Tao who demands a Xingqiu. At the same time, they don't have Yelan, but they do have Raiden Shogun. So and they have Xingqiu, of course, right? So now, once you kind of got these pieces fixed, and knowing what's coming up on the horizon. So Hu Tao's coming on the horizon. They have Zhongli, they have Xingqiu. They don't have Yelan, so it's between Hu Tao, Yelan, right? They also don't have a lot of Dendro characters, so Alhaitham is coming very soon. But do they have key components to work with Alhaitham? I'm thinking maybe Kuki Shinobu is going to play another key role, being an electro healer, as well as Yao Yao coming being a Dendro healer. What kind of direction should this account go towards? But because they don't have Nahida, they likely can't play certain best in slot compositions with Alhaitham. But is that still worth getting, even though they already have Tignari? You see, this is where things get very complicated for people, right? You have all these options like, oh, but I have Tignari. Do I need Alhaitham? But I don't have Nahida. Things start getting complicated. So we're going to start sifting this out, making it much, much, much clearer for you how you can develop this account further. All right. Like I said, we're not going to focus too hard on the Ito stuff. You guys know level 90, E2 enthusiast, R1 Stone Thresher with a C6. And I'm sure their other Geo characters are just as built and invested because they love Ito, right? If you're getting C6 Ito, there's no reason not to invest your other characters. So knowing you have a Zhongli, Kazuha also built up. So these are some of the top units they've built up. We have Ganyu, we have Raiden Shogun, we have Jin, we have Kazuha, and even the Keqing, right? The MC, very, very smart choice to build up the NC event. This character ages like wine. The longer the game goes on, the better this character is just going to become, because it becomes such a high value character with all the elements accessible to it at a given notice. It's just insane. Mona is built. So I want to keep going behind and see what up to what point. Okay, so it's roughly up to Xiangling. Okay, so post Xiangling, they haven't built any characters. So you see, it's the same with you. Just look at what characters you have built and then draw a line there, and these are the characters you have working with. And I am so happy to see Kuki Shinobu included in one of the characters. Kuki Shinobu, when she first came out, was not that useful of a character. I mean, she was good, but because Dendro at the time wasn't out, so it was very difficult to flesh out her usefulness. An electro healer at the time just wasn't as important. Now, she isn't the best healer in the game, but because of her hybrid application usage for electro, as well as being able to heal, and I mean, when it comes to damage, it's not like she does no damage. She does a decent amount. I think she's a pretty high value character for people who want to invest into Dendro compositions. She'll make your life a lot easier when you're composing certain Dendro-centric teams. But that's beside the point. I'm not saying you can't build it without Kuki Shinobu, but then you're going to need some other key components, which this account doesn't seem to have as well. So now, on your account, have you identified at least one character that you think you can build compositions around? So for this account, it's Raiden Shogun, right? Seeing a Raiden Shogun, you want to see what their Raiden Shogun is working with. Are they working with okay, they have Engulfing Lightning, which is a pretty good damage boost over the catch generally. Not an insane amount, but I think like 10-15% compared to an R5 catch. Now, my next question is, what kind of team comps is Raiden Shogun being focused around? Now, I'm looking behind here. They have Xingqiu at C6, but you see, they have not built Xingqiu. If this is an account progression video, I think it's very easy to tell what's the next piece that they should start working on, right? They have Bennett built. They have Xiangling built. They have a C0 Raiden with Engulfing Lightning. It's almost a no-brainer to say, build up your Xingqiu. And Xingqiu's artifacts is the same as Raiden's. Yes, it's the Emblem 4-piece set. You can run the Emblem 4-piece. Or you can run the 2-piece Noblesse and 2-piece the Hydro set, the one that gives Hydro damage. Or you can do the 2-piece Emblem and 2-piece Noblesse. Xingqiu becomes very flexible, especially when you have him fully built up. There's a lot of things you can work around depending on what your substats on artifacts are. You can prioritize different stats. In this case, I would just say build the 4-piece emblem set. It's going to save you a lot of trouble and time. If you don't have a 4-piece set, you can also use the 4-piece Hydro set. I don't remember the name, but there's a Hydro set that's in Dragonspine. I believe at the top of Dragonspine that you can farm with the Cryo set that has a 4-piece effect that also helps boost his damage a little bit. But I wouldn't suggest that set if you're starting from scratch. Now, this account, I think immediately the two characters that jump out at me would be Kujosara. I mean, eventually they're going to get this character to C6. Likely, next couple of patches, maybe, if she makes another rerun. I would really say to focus on Xingqiu right now and maybe Fischl, all right? Because you do have Alhaitham. I mean, because you do already have Dinari and you have Kuki built up. I can see why Fischl is not built up as well, because you don't have a very strong off-field Hydro presence. I don't believe they have Kokomi either, right? See, they don't have Hydro support DPS or applicators. That's why I'm guessing their Tignari isn't built either. Yeah, see, their Tignari isn't built. So immediately it makes sense because they likely got spoofed by Tignari. There's a very high chance that they were pulling some character and Tignari just came home. I think it's very important to take advantage of the Dendro space, because you're just going to come to a point where, well, what if there are just situations where your Geo team is kind of locked out of? It's very rare, but it can happen. Well, now they have some Ganyu team. Now they have Raiden Shogun teams, like an off-meta, maybe Raiden team can work, but it just makes your life a lot more difficult. I certainly do think that Bennett and Jiangling are great assets to have, and it's all built up. I see Yanfei is also built up, depending on what constellations. Okay, C6 Yanfei, this is also a very powerful asset. But having Kuki Shinobu at level 90, what constellations? At C6, and not having Xingqiu built, it's wasteful to say the least, right? So I think building up Xingqiu and farming some more emblem pieces, and you see, this is when we have to consider, okay, with the amazing banners we are getting next patch, what should this account focus on, right? So you have Xingqiu, you don't have Yelan. You could go for a Hu Tao team, but here's the thing. The problem I think Hu Tao is not suited for this account is, who does Hu Tao compete with on this account? That's right. And it's difficult to create a secondary team with Hu Tao because Zhongli likely will always want to stay with Ito. Are you ever going to peel Zhongli away from this team to pair with your Hu Tao over your Ito? Very, very unlikely, especially with a C6 Ito. This team is solidified. You should not be ever building a team comp that requires any one of these units if you know what's good for you, right? Like, you want to peel away your C6 R1 Ito's best units to build a subpar team. That's very, very foolish in most cases. Now, that leaves you for other strong vertical progression teams, such as Raiden Hypercarry. You can invest into Raiden Cons eventually and build up with a C6 Sara with a Kazuo for Raiden Hypercarry on one side and Ito Hypercarry on the other side. Or you can build Raiden variants teams, or you can build Dendro teams. Dendro teams are well known for their insane scaling through reactions without having to pump as much resources into the characters. Now, I feel like you've already pumped so much resource into Ito that this team likely is very mature. So looking at the stats, is 70 to 266. Right, it's a very mature team already. So resources that are going into this team at this point are just giving you diminishing returns. We should be focusing on either Dendro teams or Raiden teams. I really would like to see you build up Xingqiu, because Xingqiu can be a key component temporarily, even in Dendro meta teams, or it can be completing your Raiden national team. Raiden Hypercarry teams would require Kujosara and a Viridescence user, which you also have the character, but you don't have her as C6, so it's going to take some time to build up. In the moment, that's why immediately when I looked at this account, and you have him at C6, building up Xingqiu and likely skipping Hu Tao to pull for Yelan will generally help your account scale up much better, much faster. with Tignari, you likely don't have a need for Alhaitham. Now, unless Alhaitham is your guy, the kind of character that you want to play, you can pull him. I'd say it's very smart that you haven't built up Tignari, because if you already have a level 90 Tignari and then you're pulling Alhaitham, that's very counterproductive. You have him at level 1, so you haven't done anything, you haven't dumped any resources into him, so getting an Alhaitham, you can justify putting resources into him because likely he'll be a better version of Tignari, and building up your Xingqiu, and likely, I think, over Kutasara is you should be building. Where is she? I saw her earlier. Your official, was it? Oh, sorry, right here. I think you should be building Xingqiu followed by official, and you'll have a great Dendro-centric team with either Tignari or Alhaitham. And since your Raiden is already built, you also, by building up Xingqiu, have a great Raiden national team to work around. Artifacts you should be focusing on will be the emblem set for sure, because apart from Xingqiu, characters like Xiangling also uses the emblem set, and because Xiangling and Xingqiu, you might find them in the same team at times. I don't think you should share artifacts with them. Okay. You have Kuki Shinobu built up, so building up Tignari is also a smart move. So I would say Xingqiu into Fischl into Tignari, or Xingqiu into Tignari into Fischl, depending on which team comps you want to slide yourself towards in the future. As for weapons, let's take a look at what weapon you're running for Zhongli. Very smart, Favonius, right? This is obvious. Favonius, Redhorn, Freedom Sworn. Wow. You got the Amos bow. I mean, all your 5-star characters seems very well kitted. This, well, I mean, do you have sack sword? Oh, yeah, you do have a sack sword. Okay, yeah. So you have a sack sword. So Xingqiu is completely chilling. Very smart. As for the weapon banner, I think it'd be also very not smart to skip the Hu Tao and Yelan weapon banner. I think you should try to go for the bow for this account. Just generally looking at your account, like, I just don't see that many spear characters that can. I mean, you can pull the spear for Xiangling, but look at the catch at R5 for Xiangling. Pulling a Staff of Homa for her. Yeah, it's a good weapon to have, but like I said, you're never going to use Hu Tao on this team. Unless you absolutely love her. See, this is the problem. You are likely never going to fit Hu Tao into one of your rotations. Because not only does Hu Tao compete with Ito as a DPS, Hu Tao also likely wants Zhongli. Right? Like this is the thing. That's why Hu Tao essentially has been kicked from possible meta characters that you likely will build. Unless you like her. If you like her, but then remember, you're likely going to have to pair a subpar Ito team by giving up Zhongli to Hu Tao, and Hu Tao will also be taking away Bennett. No, what am I saying? And Hu Tao will also be taking away Xingqiu, as well as Yelan, if you do eventually pull her. That's why I think it's probably generally better for you to invest into Yelan as well as her weapon. That's like if you are planning to pull. I think that would be the smarter approach to go for it. If you are wanting to build a Hytham, pulling a Hytham is not a bad choice either. Likely you're not gonna pull Zhao because there's no Fado Zen, right? Yeah, you don't have Fado Zen, so yeah, just skip Zhao altogether. If you're pulling for a Hytham, really focus on Fischl, getting Fischl up there, getting Xingqiu up there. Even if you pull a Hytham, I think Xingqiu or Hytham can make a pretty lethal combo, especially with Fischl. I don't know, I have to go through testing, but especially you already built up Kuki Shinobu. All the pieces are just slowly falling into place. Oh my god, she's using this weapon. Oh my god. Yeah. that's all I gotta say for this account. So yeah, people, if you are looking to build up your account, just slowly follow through that process. What are the key characters, right? We've noticed the key characters were Raiden Shogun. We noticed that Kuki Shinobu is a very, very key unit that's been built up. You have Tignari. You also have C6 Xingqiu. You have a C5 Sara. You have a C6 Fischl, all sitting around. I think these are really good characters to slowly pivot your account towards, to make your account even better, more well-rounded, and slowly elevate it on all fronts. Very good account, I would say, for a Welcome player. It takes a lot of gut to invest into one character C6. As I mentioned, if you're a low spender or a Welcome player, invest into a C6 character can be a huge risk at time, because sometimes you have this team just locked out all together. You just can't really use it, not just because immunity, but certain utilities or mechanics of enemies deem it that the Geo, like a mono Geo team, just isn't equipped to deal with the threat. But always you can flex them into another side of the abyss, another part of the chamber, but then you're gonna have to have another team ready to deal with the threat that is, let's say, abyss lectors that have certain unique shields. I'm pretty sure in the future they're going to release all sorts of monsters that counter certain elements and force you to build different team comps to overcome the issues. Right now, the glaring issue for this team is not having a strong Hydro applicator or DPS being built. Having Xingqiu as C6 at level 20, it's definitely something that needs to be fixed going forward. Like I said, final verdict, build Xingqiu, pull Yelan, get her weapon if you have the resources, or just pull Yelan and skip her weapon, skip the Hu Tao weapon, because I really don't suggest you go for a Hu Tao weapon. It's quite a waste of your resource, especially for this account in particular. Okay, that's going to be it, but it's a very good account. Hope this has helped some people, and chat may or may not agree with me. I haven't really been looking at them, but after this video, I'll be conversing with chat. Make sure to see in the comments down below what else you can do for your account. This is a very generalized, streamlined way to see how you can power up your account. Okay, till next time, urge you all to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye-bye. Okay, very good account, actually. Very good account. Geo Slimes clear this account. Yeah, like stuff like Geo Slimes, very simple things like Geo Slime can really stump these kind of accounts, because mono teams, they're designed to be incredibly powerful, but at the same time, it's very easy for Hoyoverse to counter you. Very easy. Hoyoverse can at any given moment make Geo characters feel miserable for an entire patch, or 2 patch, or 3 patch. And there will be patches they can make Geo characters seem like a god. I bet Dante is having a blast with this Abyss iteration with Ito, right? Stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know how well this comp is going to age, considering that there will likely come a day where Crystallize becomes meta or useful again, or certain characters will come back that incentivize running Crystallize. And during those eras of Genshin, I like mono Geo team. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Geo has kind of been left in the dust in terms of meta. Not because of damage issues, but it's just like Hoyoverse hasn't really developed any countermeasures or favoritisms to this element at all. It's almost like they've completely chosen to ignore this element from development altogether. But Ito, being such a strong character, has actually gotten shafted much less than Zhao has for some reason. I think Zhao as an Anemo unit is just very unfortunate. Zhao doesn't share any of the benefits of the other Anemo supports, but at the same time, he has been shafted by all of the negative counters the Hoyoverse has put. So I think as a free-to-play player, like say if you guys are watching right now, if you're a free-to-play player, it's not the best idea to build mono teams. Very not a good. I'm saying very not a good idea. It's just, especially in your first couple compositions, don't follow Dante's footprint, right? Dante says, I have built many team comps. Look at them, trust. Yeah. I'm saying don't follow Dante's footprints unless you are willing to invest into higher constellations for these mono carry teams. So we got Geo. We got Cryo. Okay. Oh, yeah. I see. Like this team is certainly strong. But like, I don't know. I actually don't know how like I can see this team is strong, but I don't know how big of a difference Nahida will make. I'm thinking it's gonna be a very big difference having Nahida here instead. But yeah, that Nahida is probably gonna be very, very far off. Oh. Oh. So you're working on this, right? Like this is what you're working on. You see, in this situation, remove Mona and put in Xingqiu will make your life. I mean, not with Tignari because Tignari and Xingqiu don't work together. Tignari and Xingqiu don't work together. But this team is actually very interesting. I can see it working, but rotation. Xiaoling should be able to use her burst on cooldown. Diluc should likely have all the pyro characters have their burst on cooldown. What weapon do you have for oh yeah, it was Freedom Sworn, right? Do you have constellations? No. Are you is your Kazuha getting his burst on cooldown as well? Like 60 cost shouldn't be too much, but I don't think you have any help, right? So your Kazuha will just have to rely on his elemental skill. Like I can see this team being strong, especially with Bennett buffing your Jiangling and your Diluc. It's like Dante, you seem to have a favoritism towards mono teams, don't you? Like you really like single elemental teams. Mona has become quite a key component. Like I can see your you seem like you'll prefer someone like Kokomi more than someone like Xingqiu or Yelan. Right? Is this C1 Kazuha? No, it's a C0 Kazuha. So Kazuha likely will not be able to use burst on cooldown, but it's fine because with Viridescence you can use your elemental skill as long as you have good enough pyro on off-field pyro or elemental application. This composition, I mean, with Mona here, actually can buff a lot of damage. Thrilling Tales? Favonius Codex. Oh, so this team you have somebody facilitating the energy. What about Sacrificial Bow? Okay, so Ganyu should be able to use burst pretty much off cooldown. Let's see your Ganyu stats as well. 52, 220. Very good. Artifacts. But it's actually very interesting to me that you've never tried to build for a Raiden national team. I guess with the people talking about it, you probably get bored of this team very quick. It's a very strong team, very consistent, but people seem to have an over reliance on it once they build it. I'm not saying the teams you have constructed are bad. These are certainly off meta teams. Like these team comps aren't very commonly seen. This one might be a little more common, but like this team actually piqued my interest. I think it's a good team. I think it's a good team. Damn. I really wished you had a Nahida because having a Nahida in your comp in this account can change a lot, especially you have Kuki Shinobu, so you can actually build quite a number of pretty strong Dendro comps. Dante, who are you pulling next patch? Are you pulling anyone next patch? Jake says Unga Bunga. He's an Unga Bunga, yeah. He's an Unga Bunga player. Dante says, I got Raiden 3 days ago. Okay, nice. You just picked her up. Very smart. Picking her up. And Dante's planning to get Nahida to C2. Yeah. So, Dante, I think building up Xingqiu next it should be your next thing. Are you planning to build Xingqiu, or you're still just trying to skip skip over him. I think building Shinchu Nest will actually open up a lot more for your account. Just generally, it'll open up a lot more for your account. Dante is saving for Shinhe C2, Nahida C2. Oh my god. He's going to build all the mono comps. So he's going to have the Pyro mono comp. He's going to have a Cryo mono. He's already has a Geo mono. Hydro mono isn't here yet. So like pretty much that you haven't built your mono and Nemo team. Dante says yes, I'm passively. Okay, yeah, as long as you're slowly getting him up there, I think it should be fine. So are you're skipping the patch next patch, right? Like you're skipping 3.4. You're not polling for anybody. Monophysical. Monophysical is a problem because then you won't have superconduct. Then superconduct becomes very bad. I wouldn't be surprised that after they fix crystallize, they work on superconduct. So Dante is skipping everyone next patch. I mean, with the way your account is built, I don't think it's necessarily a bad decision, right? Like, I think skipping next patch for somebody who has a C6R1 Ito and a bunch of characters kind of sitting, like really meta characters sitting aside with all the key 4 stars already secured, I don't think you should be really hurting. Wow, trying to build mono cryo though, that is a hefty investment. Although I don't think mono cryo is as demanding as mono geo. I think mono geo is a much more demanding team because you want to get the most out of Ito. He is going to have to be C6 because that's where the damage and the fact that you don't have to use the charge, right? You gain free charge attacks. That's so stupid. Like such a stupid mechanic, but like it's so damn broken. But yeah, like overall, this account, I think it's coming together very well, and investing into all these characters to level 90 is certainly a bold move. I mean, I don't think any of the characters you have at level 90 is considered a waste. Anyways, yeah, I think most of these characters I guess Ningguang probably was played in Ito's spot prior to Ningguang and Noel. Both of these characters like can fill Ito's spot prior to your C6 Ito, but I think nowadays they're mostly retired. A level 90 Barbara too. I don't know, like if I were you, I definitely would want to get Nahida. After I get Nahida, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want Nahida, Yelan, and Kokomi for this account. I think it'll be a hell of a lot of fun having these great Hydro applicators. Just opens up a lot of avenues for team comps. Hydro, oftentimes you'll find is the bottleneck if you look closely. I don't know, chat, do you agree with me? Like, comps oftentimes leverage a lot of their synergies around Hydro. Hydro just touches too many metas. Hydro has freeze, Hydro has vaporize, Hydro has bloom, super bloom, and all that stuff. Hyper bloom. It's too good of an element. Hydro touches too many compositions. Yeah, I think it's such a waste to not have a well-built Hydro applicator on your team. Now, I know this account has Mona, and Mona works. Like, I'm not saying Mona doesn't work, but Mona is very restrictive. Where is Mona? Mona is very restrictive in, like, the consistency of her Hydro and the uptime. Like, it makes you always have to constantly switch into her, and with certain compositions, you just don't have the luxury to both have maximum damage upkeep as well as constantly quick swapping. Like she is a great quick swapper if you just swap. But there are some teams that are not very quick swap favored, if that makes sense. Bonbon is saying, still can't accept how Geo and Dendro has no reaction like that. Like the fact that Geo has been secluded from Dendro reactions makes me think that they are going to eventually work on Crystallize. They can't completely ignore Geo and also not fix its reactions. So that's what gave me the confidence originally to say like, okay, I think Geo has hope in the future for maybe a Crystallized revamp or a Crystallized buff or a Crystallized specialized unit, kind of like what Nilu did for Bloom, but for Crystallize. And I'm not gonna say that Crystallize is gonna be broken, but let's say if a new character comes out, I'm just saying, let's say a new character comes out, they have a like a buff to Crystallize that is similar to Viridescence. Just think about that, right? Let's say a Crystallized buff that is similar to Viridescence, but maybe more powerful than Viridescence, because Crystallize in more ways than one is more restrictive than Viridescence, because Crystallize relies on picking up those shields, which actually screws around with your positioning. No, think about it. If you want to take advantage of Crystallize, not only do you have to proc the crystals, you also have to go over to the crystal and pick it up. You guys might not think much about it, but imagine mid DPS cycle, you have to now move your character to a different location to pick up a shield to take advantage of it. It's kind of like Guoba's pepper. I found myself oftentimes doing DPS, and having to go pick up Guoba's pepper really kind of messes with your DPS cycle. You know, like repositioning, and sometimes it costs you 2 to 3 dashes to just get to the location fast and efficiently. So because of that downside, I think they need to make up for that. Like, we're talking very fine details when it comes to Crystallize now. But if you guys have never, ever played Crystallize and never, ever will, I'm just telling you, there's a lot more to consider when rebalancing Crystallize, because I need to take into account the fact that people actually need to go and freaking pick up your dumbass crystal. Why not just have the crystal applied to the character that triggered the reaction? Automatically applied, right? Or, oh my god, I've said this in the past, a great way to make Crystallize relevant is allow Crystallized shields to stack. If they have a new unit in the future that can make Crystallized shields stack on top of each other and work, like, and then let's say maximum you can stack 4 or 5 Crystallized shields, and at max Crystallized shield stack, your shield evolves into something that similar to Zhongli's Jade Shield. It doesn't even have to be like, let's say, different elemental shield. But let's say if you could have different elemental shields, you can gain additional elemental resistance. Let's say you have a Hydro Shield, then you pick up a Pyro Shield, then you pick up an Electro Shield, then now you have all 3 of the resistances, and then your shield should be able to evolve. I think something revolving around shielding, giving free-to-plays, giving lower spenders a way to even combat or compete with Zhongli's shield. Now, even if you have like 3-4 different shield, which is already very hard to achieve, oftentimes you're likely going to have 2. If you're lucky, you get 2, and then you have resistance against those 2, and then if you can max stack the shield, then the shield kind of evolves. I think playing around those kind of like a more hybrid, you have to have some sort of hybrid offense defense way to incentivize running these super crystallized characters. I think that's a great start to revamping Crystallize. Allowing shields to stack, and also at max shield stacks, give it an additional offensive bonus to the character who is on field. A simple bonus like damage increase could be great, or a less effective one could be like deals increased damage according to the type of shield that you have, and it should be more relevant than Viridescence. So Viridescence could be shredding the enemies elemental resistance. Super Crystallize could be buffing your unit's elemental damage output. Stuff like that. I might be just talking out of my butt cheeks, which is also completely fine with me because I've played with Crystallized enough because back in the day I played a lot of Albedo. I played with Crystallized enough to know that there are certain things that they need to really that there are certain problems they need to solve or answer before they can really truly make Crystallize a good reaction without making it too OP. I'll be the first to say it. Crystallize is a very boring reaction to play. It has no visual stimulations. It's just like some color sparkles and then a shield drops on the ground. It doesn't look good. Right? Like Viridescence, because of swirl, Viridescence feels very impactful. Like, oh my god, look at all these colors and numbers. Like, you got to take that into account as well. Like, Viridescence is a much cooler and satisfying way to play the game, whereas freaking Crystallize makes you really honestly feel like you're an underachiever. You guys might think that, oh, like, what, the color of the reaction and how it looks on screen, that doesn't matter. No, it matters. It really does matter. How exciting your combat looks is 100% influential on whether or not people want to play your, like, game or composition or meta. Tony Wong says, I love colors. Yeah, like, it's exciting seeing all these things flying on screen, numbers, like, popping up in different colors and tornadoes and electrically infused tornadoes, fire tornadoes. That's exciting to look at. It's just an exciting reaction to play with. Genshin fighting animation is smooth. Yeah. Koi New says, it matters to me. Love the colors. See? Kazuha Burst plus anything. Yeah, like, so if they cannot make Crystallize exciting to look at, I think even if it's a stronger element and even if it's a stronger reactions, it's gonna be difficult to incentivize people to pick it up. Because think about it, how many meta comps do we have? We have like a ton of options nowadays compared to even a year ago, right? We have so many more options. So why should people want to play like Super Crystallize when they have Hyper Bloom, Super Bloom, or Aggravate teams, or they can have Vaporize teams, Reverse Melt teams? Remember, like, as we continue developing, Mono teams starts becoming also, like, sure, you can play Crystallize, or you can just play Mono teams. Mono teams are very exciting too. Mono teams are some of the most disgustingly busted ass teams in the whole game. Right? Like, why should people spend on the revamped Crystallized character if the playstyle and visually is just not that exciting? These are all questions Holyverse has to answer before they revitalize Crystallize at all. Walrus, can you run this mono team in Abyss? Oh, you guys want to see it, don't you? You guys want to see a C6 Ito? Zhao lovers, look away. This is not balanced. I'm telling you, C6 Ito is not a balanced character. They should delete him from the game. I'm kidding. Dante was like, excuse me? What wars? Wait. Oh yeah. I'm kidding. I love Ito. I love Ito players as well. I think Ito players are so nice. They're so easy to get along with. Very straightforward. Dante just broke out in a cold sweat. I was like, what? Delete? Don't do that. Oh my gosh, Ito hasn't even busted a sweat yet. Here we go. What is this character, bro? What is this character? What is happening? And his burst is back. Like, I could... what is this character? Where is it? Oh, it's over here. Oh my god. Dude, like, chat, what is this character? Like, I'm playing with one hand. And I feel like I didn't even play it properly. I just like, let's try again. Maybe I bro, like this unit is where is the here? What? 70. I've seen people do like 100k with this character. Dude, okay, not to take anything away from Zhao, I think Zhao, even at C0, can plunge for like 80k, especially with C6 Fadosan nowadays. Zhao can plunge up to 100k. But for some reason, Zhao just doesn't seem as fluid. I think it's something about the up and down, up and down, up and down, right? There's something about the up and down that just makes it not feel as fluid. I feel Ito is much easier to control, and Ito is also an AoE character. Ito is also an AoE character, much easier to control, and it doesn't feel like you I don't know what's the best way to explain it. It doesn't feel as sporadic. You know, it doesn't feel as like what the hell is going on, and oftentimes for Zhao, you don't really have a clear understanding of what the hell is going on, and it just feels like it's a little too much. And especially with Zhao C6, I think it, like in more ways than one, you can say like, well, Zhao C6 can be justified that you need multiple enemies but then again, if you have multiple enemies, Zhao is the best AoE DPS in the game. Why would you like? I don't even want to really dash if I have Fadosan nowadays. You know what I mean? I'd rather just keep plunging. Like Zhao C6 feels more and more redundant now, like that I see C6 what C6 Fadosan is capable of. C6 Fadosan makes sure that you pull all the enemies together, so you just keep plunging, just plunge. Why would you dash? I guess it's maybe for satisfaction. Like if you're starting to have a migraine, you're like, oh my god, it's hurting my head, then just dash instead, right? Dante says, try my cryo team. Yeah, we can try the cryo team. I think Dante has some great units invested here. Your cryo team was, I believe I remember, it was... I'm pretty surprised they don't let you for like they should have a team select button. Like if you have pre-constructed teams, they should just say like click a button here and fill in the team that you have, right? It was Ganyu, Mona. Was it Kazuha? Diona and Kazuha? I remember. Right? Am I right? Or am I crazy? Was it this? Yeah. But Mona doesn't run so I'm guessing this. Did I miss? Oh my god. Oh no. See, Kazuha can't really keep up when it comes to Why isn't he falling on my flower? Ganju's burst is back. Where is it? Okay, his burst is back. That's why I like to run Sack Sword for it. I like to run Sack Sword on what's his name? On Kazuha, because I find that Sack Sword gives him a lot of particle. Oh my goodness. Am I playing this wrong, chat? I think I'm applying Viridescence, right? Apply Viridescence. I swear I have to be playing this team wrong somehow. Did I miss? Bro. Am I playing? Did I play that team wrong? I feel like I applied Viridescence consistently. I rotated through Mona. Like, the thing is, Mona's burst was not coming back off cooldown fast enough, and Kazuha's burst was like, it was every other cycle. If you take more than a minute and a half, I would say, to clear that, it's too long. I think like around a minute clear for that boss is like ideal. Yeah, I think this is probably a better AoE team. Like, probably not suited for single target. This team also an AoE team with Kazuha, Raiden, Shogun. I'm actually curious as to this team, chat. Okay, comment in chat. How long do you think this team will take to clear that boss? Do you think we can get a sub 1 minute clear? I don't know. I might value the Sack Sword more. Let's try the Sack Sword. 1 minute 40 with this team. I'm gonna try with the Sack Sword because I valued Kazuha's burst more than the more than the buff. Hopefully I play it right. That's my concern. Bennett, Kazuha. Advantage of Sack Sword, it just cycles through Kazuha's burst faster, generates more particles. That's it. Oh my goodness. See, now I can use Kazuha's burst. But Xiangling's burst wasn't able to cycle through properly, though. You see, Xiangling's burst just came back, and now Bennett's burst is back with... Oh my god. Bennett's burst is not back, but Xiangling's burst is back. Okay. I don't know. I might be playing the team comps wrong, but I feel like Bennett's burst is not coming back fast enough. So it's built for elemental mastery. Bennett with 171 energy regen. Like, I mean, I find the strength of Bennett and Xiangling are just all in their bursts, right? Like you need them to have bursts back off cooldown. Without it, it doesn't matter how much damage you have. It kind of it really disrupts the flow of your combat. Try using it the way you have them. So starting with Bennett, you mean start with Bennett into who? Like Diluc, Kazuha, Xiangling? I think Bennett needs around like minimum like 220 to 230 EM, because without that, you see guys, even with triple pyro, you weren't getting Xiangling's burst back on time. You weren't getting Bennett's burst back on time, and I was running Kazuha on Saxord to get his burst back on time. Bennett, Xiangling, Kazuha, Diluc. Okay. Let's try it. But the problem is, like, see, Dante, once the rotation is done, it takes them so long to get it back. Let's see. Xiangling, Bennett, Kazuha. So we start with Bennett, Xiangling, Kazuha, Diluc. I missed. I missed the. Now we need to switch to Bennett, because once Diluc offloads everything, he's kind of useless as well. Dodge that. Now Diluc comes back. Diluc is back. But we don't have Bennett. Bennett is back. Bennett. Xiangling. Kazuha just got his burst back. Nice. Oh no. And then this thing happens. I don't know. I feel like Diluc also. Diluc feels like he does less damage than Xiangling, to be honest. I don't know if I'm right. And man, I'm really getting unlucky with these Saxord procs. You see, we're waiting on Xiangling's burst now, right? Like, we're just waiting. At this point, it's just a waiting game. Whenever Xiangling gets her burst back, then we'll talk. Look how long it's taking Xiangling. So then Xiangling. This is why uptime is important, right? Like, uptime is super important in this. It just takes too long. I'd rather have them do less damage, but better uptime. Now, like, you see, now we keep waiting. Now we keep waiting. Keep waiting, keep waiting. How long for Xiangling? Xiangling just got hers back. We can still snapshot it. Nice. And I didn't proc the Sax Sword again. That's 3 times in this one run. I didn't proc the Sax Sword. And now Diluc. And I missed the ult. I don't know. Like, look at this. Xiangling's burst should be back off cooldown. Like, should be. Come on, man. Xiangling, please. Don't do this to me, Xiangling. Like, your Xiangling burst does damage, but the problem is, like, you see, you're trading off damage for uptime. So the fact that it does more damage when it's on field, but it's not on field all the time, means that you're actually doing less damage, if that makes sense, right? Because having it on field but with less scaling is much more important than having better scaling but it's not on field half the time. Like, I swear if we just had Xiangling, like all their bursts off cooldown, like what is the percentage of 70%? Really? Nahida is on my list. Yeah, I think Nahida, getting Nahida next would be good. I don't know, this team. Honestly, I feel like if you run it like this, can we try this team? Let's try this team. Let's try the Ganyu version. This account needs hydro. Yeah, this account is thirsty. Bro, what? Yeah, let's try the Ganyu team. Because I think oh no, but you see the problem with this team. Wait. The problem with this team is I feel like Xiangling. This needs to be an ER piece. Do you have an ER piece? Okay, I'm gonna borrow this. And Bennett. HP. Crit rate. Crit rate. That's interesting. I thought it was gonna be healing bonus. Huh. Or HP would be good as well. I borderline want to change this to energy regen as well. Can I? Can I just try it? Because I feel like we need this much. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at so we're nearing 200%. Xiaoling is like 235. Yeah, I feel like with the Ganyu variant, because you're now missing another generator for particles. This should be enough. I think this should be enough for Xiangling. Maybe Bennett. Dun dun. Kazuha. Let's try it. Let's see. So rotation wise, I think it's the same. And it didn't proc again. Really, dude? There we go. Something about... Okay, I mean, it feels much better now. And, okay. I mean, it's not perfect uptime, but it's a little better. Bro, this thing... Really? This thing changes form so damn quick. Well, I guess we just set up. So we got burst back. Whew, got the snapshot. I don't want to waste the thing on this dude. So I'll come here. I'll do this. I need to heal from my Ganyu. I mean, it still takes far too long for comfort. But it's great to see our burst coming back much faster though. I think Bennett needs more. I know it's already an insane amount of energy recharge, but like look at how long we are taking to to get his burst back. Oh my god, my Ganyu's gonna die. I don't know. And yeah, Ganyu without a shielder definitely feels a bit awkward, but I mean, it's not something we can't play around. It certainly feels more awkward that Bennett and Xiangling don't have their burst back. But I mean, Xiangling nowadays feel like just now, Xiangling feels decently comfortable. I don't know. Bennett without like 230 feels awkward. And I don't feel like we should, I mean, Bennett using a 5-star weapon is good for his buffs. If you, right? I think this sword could be good for Bennett. So the HP increase and the being a 5-star weapon and all can give him more scaling for his buff. And also the HP can help him heal a little better. I don't know. I have my Bennett running the... What's that weapon called? It's a standard banner weapon, the Jeans weapon. Give Bennett the new Dendro sword. This one? But it's not leveled up, unfortunately. It's fine. I mean, it's not a detriment. I mean, the guy is 36 starring the Abyss, right? Like, the guy's 36 starring the Abyss. There are no problems. Oh yeah, Aquila Favonia. That's what I have on my Bennett. It's an okay weapon, but my Bennett runs I believe my Bennett runs energy recharge and healing bonus on this piece. So it's like sometimes even just one tick of his burst can get a character from like 30% health straight back to 70%. So just stuff like that. Because you guys see just now, like Bennett's burst actually doesn't last insanely. Like it has a fair duration, but it's not insanely long. So oftentimes by the time I set everything up and get to the character, let's say my Ganyu, who was wanting some heals, she doesn't even get any more heals, right? So I don't know. Let's see if I remember what he was running. Let's switch this back with Diona. And for Xiangling, let's switch it back with Raiden Shogun. Yeah. It's a good account. I mean, the Ito team is just by far the juggernaut of the thing. And I see you're building a lot of just interesting comps that, I mean, who's to say they're not good comps, but it's just, I find it's very difficult to cycle through them properly. I think it would also help if you have more enemies to kill, so then they help facilitate some of the energy issues, so you can have better uptime. I think uptime is the most important thing, especially for characters like Xiangling, Bennett, who are very burst reliant. Same with Xingqiu. Yelan in many ways in one is also burst reliant. Kazuha not so much, because half of the reason you run him is for Viridescence, and his elemental skill can apply Viridescence, but having his burst back off cooldown is very, very valuable. Sometimes people might think you're like overloading the character with too much ER, but it's whatever you need to get them to get their burst back off cooldown. The second their burst is off cooldown, ideally it should be back. That's what Xiangling and Bennett should be aiming for. But yeah, I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. Thank you guys so much for staying with me so late into the live stream. I know it was a later stream than usual today. Unfortunately, like I said, I did get caught up with work. But yeah, I would, next time I see you guys, it would be on Wednesday, and that's when our Hive Thumbs patch is out. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to pull a Hive Thumb, but am I excited for the character? I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say I wasn't a little bit excited, but he's certainly not like anything new and fresh, right? If Alhaitham was someone new who introduced an entirely new playstyle reaction system, then maybe he'll be a lot more exciting, but he's just more of the same, a different way to play the same thing. So we'll see. Maybe my verdict will change once I get to play him and he feels very amazing to play. Who knows? He might be a very satisfying character to play. But yeah, I'll give you guys my verdict. If not, I'll likely borrow one of your accounts if you're polling for or somebody else who's not watching, who's not awake right now. I'll probably borrow a viewer's account and do a review of I'll hide them and I'll compare them to some other characters and see how it works. Okay. Charm Chaos says thanks. Take care and don't forget to be awesome, everybody. Exactly. Don't forget to be awesome. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday or maybe Tuesday. I might do an earlier stream just to pull for I'll hide them. Who knows? Till then, urge you all to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye.